Good afternoon, YouTube. I like to explain really quick how I got this solar power little setup going. So first I'm going to show you the panels and how they feed into the actual house. See, as you can see there, I'm trying to get this done fairly quickly. Just so you know, I have panels up. Go back down the ladder here. So those feed in to that black wire right there. We're going to follow that black wire all the way back, okay? All the way through. It's going to go back in through my shed. Follow it down through here. Get some lights on for you real quick. So from here, right, the solar panels themselves, they feed into here. The little spot on this little inverter, I'm sorry, the charge controller that shows the panel itself. Okay, so right now it's reading off the battery. So right now my battery is at 12.7 volts. Click that 3 times. That shows my solar power that's going into the actual battery. See, so this goes in here, controls it, pushes it out, which these two go into the little hole there, which then come around to the actual battery. Right, this is a simple, I think it's a Thunderbolt 12 volt deep cycle battery. You can get them at Harbor Freight, I believe. I think you can use car batteries, are also golf cart batteries, to my understanding, because they're all deep cycle, right? They're meant to be recharged over and over again. So the whole point of this system is it controls the charge, right? The solar power that's coming through. It controls that and regulates that. So if your battery's full, this will automatically cut off all power coming from the solar panels to the battery. That keeps it from essentially overloading your battery and causing a meltdown, an explosion. I don't know what it does exactly, but I'd rather not find out. Another thing it also does is it controls the actual, if your battery gets way too low, it'll also cut off power. Because what can happen is if you end up charging a way too low powered battery, you can end up damaging it. Okay, so that's what that part does. Now moving on, you see these bigger sets of jumper cables that go positive, negative, right? We're gonna follow those through. Those come out, come right through here to this Jupiter, I think is the brand. It's basically a direct current to alternating current, DC to AC converter, converter. I don't know. All I know is it works. See? So it comes through here, and what this does is it turns that direct current battery power into alternating current, which is what most households use. Okay? So from here, if you look at it, put the camera upside down because I mounted this upside down. It says 12.6 volts, right? That one's reading 12.7, so they're not too far off from each other. This is reading the power from the battery. Now what's happening is I can turn this on, turn it off. Cool, lights go on and off. I have this hooked in, and this is actually to my shed, right? It goes into all my outlets, feeds everything. So right now, this is going off 100% solar power. See, it actually handles pretty well. One thing that will happen on this is when it gets a good load, the fan will kick on to help cool it down, because it'll start not necessarily overheating, but it has its own little cooling system. See, so it's enough I can actually run a drill press. And as you can see, the power will kick on that for a little bit. Or the fan, I'm sorry. And then after about a minute or so, it'll shut off once it regulates its temperature back to good operating temperatures. So that's a really basic setup on this. One issue I ended up doing before, because I couldn't find a good enough tutorial, is I tried hooking this directly into the what do you call it, the load on the charge controller. I ended up blowing out one of these charge controllers as a result. So it's easier to just connect your inverter directly to the battery along with the charge controller going to the battery. So one thing this will do is when my battery's at capacity and I'm no longer like using any kind of power whatsoever, this will just read 0 across the board. Once I turn this on, I start using power, then it'll start giving readings like that. So it's pretty much trying to replace the power stored inside that battery with solar power, right? Because I'm using some power. So it's always trying to keep that battery topped up. So I hope this helps. I tried to keep it as short as possible. Try and get straight to the point, just show you one of my little setups here. Thanks for watching.